promised you a story, now didn't we? But the lesson might be a little tough to learn. Only the advanced of you will actually understand tonight's story. Because it involves a matter of neglect. A very sad state, as you will learn. But I shall not bear on you any further innuations of tonight's story.
Anybody could control a football game by controlling an offensive coordinator and a quarterback, because the quarterback touches the ball every time, and the coordinator tells the quarterback what he's going to do. And so those two alone could control half the outcome of a football game. So in other words, you can write half the score on your own. And every time that your offense has the ball, that offensive coordinator is in control of the football game, and the score and any points that get added to the board are in his control. Well, what about when the other team has the ball? Well, if you got a good defense, you got nothing to worry about. Let's say the under was 42. You got a team that you're favored by 10 to beat. What you want to do is kill the first two quarters, and you can do that by shutting down drives. You can control the pace your offense moves. Now, what he wants to do is score yards, move some clock, because every second you take off when you are in control of the game, now you're stepping toward the goal, right in the score. But is it really that simple? Well, it can be difficult. There's all kind of things to consider. You have to have a high scoring average. That way, Vegas gives you big numbers to work with. Secondly, most people would try to control the spread as a secondary bet, and the under, you could almost guarantee yourself to win that if you were determined to. If you had 42 points to work with a good defense, you should be able to win the game, catch the under, and the cherry on top would be you might even catch the spread. So certainly, a one-man army could do it. A coordinator could certainly do it without the active participation of the quarterback.
Well, you certainly made a good case that the offensive coordinator could control the points enough to cover the under, but what kind of payouts would one expect? Well, betting the under usually is a 110 plus type of bet. That means your payout is 90 cents to every dollar wagered, plus you get your wagered amount back. So it's a 90% profit. That's not the kind of number that attracts every bettor. But when you consider as the offensive coordinator, it's pretty much a sure thing. So how much money should an offensive coordinator have in his bag? Well, take Georgia, for example. Mike Bobo has a net worth of over $7 million. He earns millions as the coordinator, so he could probably put as much as $500,000 per game. Win a few of those $500,000 bets on a 91% payout, and he can make any amount he wants. So the last season, Georgia caught 10 under bets. Now, if $500,000 per game was his payout, then he could have made $5 million. If he threw $1 million in a game, well, then that's $10 million. And adding his salary, Bobo would have made more than Kirby and Smart. Now, that's just a hypothetical. We're not saying Bobo's done this, but his mode of operation certainly fits the model. Well, now there's one caveat to all this. Most importantly, a coach has to keep his job. He has to consider the team's goals, and the prominence of his star players have to be considered. For example, last season, Bobo had a Heisman candidate in Beck, so we had to be careful not to truly derail that. Now, his team was ranked, most of the season, was ranked number one. So style points have to be considered. So could a coach who was basically playing Vegas like we described, could they win titles? Well, it would certainly be difficult. If you have a million riding on the under, that would probably take precedence over just winning a title game. So if you look back at 2023 with Mike Bobo, let's take the first 4 games. He killed the first half in almost every one of those first 4 games, but he did average 40 points. And he did catch the under. And there were 4 games that stood out. Auburn, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Florida. And he caught the under in all those games. However, as Auburn, South Carolina, and Tech were 1 possession win. And a loss was certainly a possibility. So it looks like style points were sacrificed last year. But no losses in the regular season. No losses in the regular season were incurred. Now the SEC championship game did catch the under as well. Just 1 extra touchdown could have won the game. So maybe an SEC was sacrificed, and ultimately, along with it, a playoff spot. Now with a 12-team playoff, there's more wiggle room for Georgia, but a couple of losses probably will happen if this method is employed this year. And so bragging about stats may be all that Georgia fans can expect for the foreseeable future. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, well, you just have to call it a duck.